Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 5, season 2 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast. And today's episode, as always, is inspired by the work that I am doing and the work that I'm doing with those that I work with in my group programs and one-to-one. And if you are interested in any of that, do make sure that you're on my Amy Yoga mailing list, particularly if you're a yoga teacher and if you're that soul-led female service-based entrepreneur. The best place that you can be is on my Substack. Particularly if you listen to this podcast every week, you definitely also need to be on my Substack, because my Substack's like it. I can't describe what Substack is. It is an email, it's a video vlog, but every week on a Tuesday I land in your inbox with like a 5-minute business energy tip, and they're really actionable. And sometimes it's a breathing practice, it's a meditation, it's an affirmation. Sometimes it's like pick business advice, really short actionable action that you can take in your business, that will have a profound impact. And it's these micro steps that we could just take 5 minutes each week that compound, leading us to have this profitable, sustainable, impactful business that also serves us energetically. That's what I'm all about, as you know. And today's episode actually directly links to this. I've called it Planning for Profit. And what I want to talk to you about today is just that, planning for profit. How do you plan in your business so you're not in this reactive state? Now, I just want to caveat here, right? This is something that I don't always get right. This is something that I'm very much still practicing. And the way I do it, I'm not saying is the way, right? I'm not putting this forward as this is a strategy that everyone should do. A strategy, that word strategy, do you want my strategy? A strategy is a formula, a series of steps that someone took and it worked for them. And then they go, I know how to do it. Everyone needs to do this. If you all take this series of steps, it will work for you too. And in some cases it does, and in some cases it doesn't. And then that person takes the same series of steps again and it doesn't work. This is why there isn't a golden bullet, a magic formula. There isn't one strategy that I can give you, to say this is it. That doesn't exist. Strategies are just something that may work for you. It depends. Depends energetically how much you're behind it and if it's right for the way your brain works, the way you like to work, and the model of your business. But I will be sharing today how I have learned over the years to plan for profit and the impact of planning for profit has on the turnover of my business, on the profit of my business. But I just actually think that's what's the word? That's a byproduct. That's actually not been the main benefit of planning for profit. What planning for profit has enabled me to do is know when I'm going to have busy times in my business, plan these busy times around my life. So, like August, there's no secret. I've got children and the school summer holidays are coming up. My husband is also a school teacher. So coming up in my life is 6 weeks where my 2 children and husband are at home, right? And I largely work from home. So I know I'll need to work differently in those 6 weeks, reduce what I'm doing, or focus on different types of offers that better suit a time when I can't be doing loads of lives, for example. So it's enabled me, planning for profit has enabled my nervous system to feel less stressed about making money, what's coming up, thinking, not reacting all the time to, oh my God, I've got to promote this. And oh my God, I forgot to tell people about this. That still happens. But it has reduced that feeling of being on a hamster wheel, of catching my tail all the time. And it's allowed me the plan for profit is the title, just to, if I'm honest, clickbait to get you to listen, right? It's about planning for your business, planning for you, planning the energy that works for you. And of course, profit is part of the energy mix, but it's not the only thing here. I'm also planning to have time for me, time for my family, time for my business. So I don't burn out. And I'll be totally honest, I do. And still now, I do have these moments in my business where there's a lot going on in all areas of my life. And I'm like, who thought this was a good idea, Amy? And as I like to tell everyone I work with, including myself, we are the creators of our own reality when it comes to our business. We're the creators of the good, the bad, the ugly. I remind myself frequently, I am the creator of my own shit. When I'm self-employed, you know, when things are like, why am I working so hard? And why have I got all these deadlines? And why do I feel there's a lot going on that I've got to prepare for and deliver? Oh, because I planned for this. I scheduled this. And I'm in that moment of contrast. Yes, I am a bit annoyed with myself, but at the same time, I'm like, right, this is a learning moment. Next time, I need to create space to deliver this. I need to create space to launch this. I can't have this happening all at once. So planning for profit, or better put, planning for space in your business, space for you, space for your business, space for your other energetic commitments, will help to, nearly said will stop, will help to reduce the times where you may feel you're being reactive. You're in that moment of stress, feeling like you've got all this stuff going on and you've forgotten to tell people to do this. Coming from that place to a feeling of being in control. This is not about not being busy. You may have times, and I have times when I'm busy, and like I think it's a bit of a fallacy that that you may see, particularly in the online world, people barely working, earning millions of pounds. Yeah, okay, maybe that is true and possible for some people, but the majority of us self-employed people, particularly when we're businesses of one, we're working damn hard to create the business that we want. Okay, it's a knowing, however, knowing that I'm going to be busy at this time, so I'm going to have to say no to other things, whether they be business related or personally related, right? Because we separate those two things, but the two impact each other. When I'm busy in my business, it's harder to be a mum. When I'm busy in my personal life and chilled, there's stuff going on with the kids, it's harder to fully show up in my business. So they're not separated either. But planning for space, planning my time, planning my energy, which of course profit is mixed into, allows me to have that knowing that I've got this, knowing that it's busy right now, but I've got some downtime coming, knowing that knowing what my glass and plastic balls are, knowing that if something unplanned comes up, which it does, that I'm like, okay, this is really important, and that's a glass ball and I can't drop that, but this is a plastic ball and I can just park that now. I'm using the lovely analogy of just putting something back in my rucksack for a future date, okay, rather than thinking it needs to be done. And this is this dance of this planning. So this is how I do it. Okay, I'm not saying this is how you should do it. I would say practice, test, learn, find out what works for you. So I like to divide it up into 3 sort of phases. There's this long-term plan, which for me is I buy a big 12-month wall planner from Amazon or other places where you can buy 12-month planners. And it literally, if you're watching on YouTube, my eyes are looking up, because literally in my little office space, it sits above me like this golden guide, and I map out, I wish I was joking, but this is true. I first of all put in school holidays, right, and bank holidays and inset days. But that's really important for me to know that stuff. If you haven't got children, if you've got adult children, that's irrelevant to you. But for me, I need to know when the kids are going to be at home, or if it's an inset day and they're going to be at home, right, and I need to be mum that day, or it's a bank holiday. So I put that in, and then I put in key astrological moments of the year, and that will be a Mercury in retrograde, new moon, and full moons. Now, you don't have to do that, but I tell you now, right, just knowing astrologically those facts makes a big difference. So I reframe Mercury in retrograde, not from it's a place where it's all going to go wrong. I'm like, okay, got Mercury in retrograde coming up. That's a good time to just be a bit quieter, go get all that admin stuff done, get all that nitty gritty, maybe go into my website, refresh that, maybe create a course ready to sell when Mercury in retrograde passes. And I still sell and I still open stuff in Mercury in retrograde, but I do work around my bigger launches, my bigger announcements around Mercury in retrograde, but I utilize Mercury in retrograde to get ready for that stuff. And obviously a bit of fun with the new and the full moon. It does work. It does work. So that's my long-term plan. The other thing, so in my long-term plan, I've got holidays, astrologically important dates, Mercury retrograde, new moon, full moon. And then I put in like the big things like my foundation teacher training course, when I'm going to run my in-person yin training, then with my mentoring and energy work. What have I got booked in already in terms of in-person events and VIP business days? And then what have I got in terms of launches for bigger online courses? So that I know about. They go in. Okay, but there is space within this 12 months to move stuff and to put stuff in, because I am, in terms of human design, a generator, and I know that new ideas come up and I've got to allow myself space to play with these new ideas. It doesn't work for me to fix my 12-month calendar and be like, this is the way and this is the only way. And then when a new idea comes up, I'm like, oh, I can't do that because I didn't put it in my 12-month calendar. Whereas some people will very much need to be like, here's the 12 months and this is the way and this is the only way it can be, because if it's any other way, it stresses me out. So this is why this is my way I do it. It doesn't have to be yours. So I've got my 12-month plan. I've got main school holiday, main astrological events, and the big things I know in my business that are already coming up and planning, right? And like, just to let you know, we're in July 2024 and up until Christmas is pretty mapped out. I've got a few floating ideas for November and December, but September, October, most of November, I know what I'm doing and when. And then I've already started to put in the diary some stuff for 2025. So for example, my foundation teacher training course of 2025 is in there, and just a few penciled in potential dates for, you know, the first part of the year and online offerings. This is just helping me know that I've got offers coming, know that I will be serving my community, know that I will be also generating multiple streams of income. And I'm going to pick up at that point in a minute. So I've got my long-term 12-month, and then I'm coming down to my medium. And my medium is, so I'm going to say it's like a 2-month thing. I'm like, what's coming up this month? What's coming up next month? So I've got a good feeling. So we're in the middle of July right now, and I know exactly what I'm doing in July, and I know exactly what I'm doing in August in terms of what I'm going to be selling. So right now in my yoga business, I have got like this autumn ready campaign. It's coming up for August. It's a really great time for people who are busy but want to do some training, want to get some new offers in for the autumn to do my self-paced study courses. So I have got planned promotions coming up, directing people to my self-paced study courses. It's also a really good time if you want to do some in-person training to get that booked in. I've got a yin in-person training course in November, a yin in-person training course in Switzerland in September, and the dates for my foundation teacher training course next year are set. And that's a bigger, more expensive course, and people need more time to plan and commit to that. So this is also a great time to start drawing people's attention to the self-paced study courses, which they could do over the August period and get ready to deliver new classes for the autumn and grow their business that way. Or those people that want to come and work with me in person, train with me in person, to get that booked in and get their travel and all of that malarkey sorted out. So that's come from planning. That's come from knowing seasonally what's going to work at this time of year. And then I also know that in my mentoring business that I've got a new website. I've got a few self-paced study courses that are bubbling away that are going to be released early August. But the big thing is that I've got a big launch in September, early October, launching my new business as Amy Yoga, not Amy Yoga, as Amy Jones Mentor, Business and Energy Mentor. New website, new offers, big freebie launch that I'm like, it's already been planned into what is going to be a magical new online course. Like, as far as I can tell you, but I'm busting with excitement. But I know August, it's a lot of seeding for that, a lot of like building up the anticipation that makes sure you're on the wait list for it all, so people are getting that feeling of that new launch, new autumn September energy. So that's my monthly planning. And then actually short term, it comes down to the week, and I do have, it's either a Sunday evening or it's a Monday morning, depending on family and surfing situations in the weekend. But I do have a habit, for want of a better word, of sitting down at the start of the week and planning what's coming up, looking at like, okay, what am I focusing on this work in terms of what are my delivery requirements? What calls have I got in? What training have I got in? What one-to-one clients do I need to check in on? Then what am I selling this week? What do I need to draw people in my audience attention and focus to? And then what am I seeding? What is coming up? What do I want to start to like wet people's whistle about? All of that has come through practice, and all of that has come from moments, and I'm telling you this now, moments of, dear God, I've got this starting next week and no one knows about it. And of course, because no one knows about it, I haven't sold any places. And worst of all, those moments where you're like, you've committed to a venue, to, a bigger cost of venue, and you're like, God, I have to pay this venue, but I haven't done anything about this, because I am in that place of reacting and catching my tail all the time. And it feels like you don't have time. That in that part, I don't have time, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do this, right? And I can only tell you that because it comes from experience. Can you tell in my voice? I have been here so many times and still get here, guys, because I'm human, right? I'm just like you. And this happens to me too, right? Frequently. But what I've got now is a practice that we hear this phrase, time is relative. I refused a few months ago now, to actually longer than that, to stop telling myself I didn't have time, that I can make time, that I could use my diary, whether it's an online diary, I have a written diary, I use my diary to diarize time to plan. And it has changed everything for me in terms of my profit. Because to finish with that point I made about multiple streams of income, you need to build this into your business model. Don't panic if you haven't got it now, but if your income is reliant on one stream of income, is that you just do X as a service, whatever that service is. If you can't deliver that service, where does the money come from? If interest in that service drops off, where does the money come from? If you are starting new stuff, sometimes you're just not going to know if it's going to work. Like, so I don't know, guys, if anyone's going to buy this amazing new online course in the autumn that I've got, right? And I could easily go, well, I'm not going to do it, or I'm not going to go loud and proud about it just in case I don't sell any. I have learned, right, that in business, you're just going to go for it. And some things stick, and some things are like, yes. And some things are like, well, who thought that was a good idea? But what have I learned? And all my endeavors to that moment have not been lost. So I encourage you to get a 12-month wall planner if you haven't got it already. Get yourself some form of diary, whether it be online, or I like a paper diary. Other things that really work for people, you've got online like organisers, for want of a better word, something like Notion, for example, where you can plan the tasks that you need to do and when they need to be done by, mark them off. I'm not so great at that. I'm a pen and paper kind of girl, and too many post-it notes, but it works for me. But have practice planning and find your rhythm. Get yourself to a place where the majority of the time you're in a knowing, not reacting phase. And plan for profit, plan for things to actually be happening, and then allow space for those things, those unplanned things to come through. All right, my darlings, I really hope that helps. Yeah, yoga teachers, do keep your eye out on my Amy Yoga email and social media, Amy Jones Mentor in Instagram, because yeah, through July, lots of offers on my online courses and lots of info about booking for in-person courses. And then soul-led entrepreneurs, the rest of you that aren't interested in the training stuff, eyes peeled for early August. I've got a couple of great self-paced study courses to keep you busy over the August period. And then yeah, it absolutely is to all of you a massive watch this space for September, because basically I'm already excited. It's my birthday as well in September, and the surf is always good in September, but I'm launching my new business with a fabulous new free event into my best online course yet. My best online course yet. All right, my darlings, I'll see you all next week.